Hello, and welcome to the podcast made by fans for fans. This is the Four Corners of Commentary. Welcome. This is our very first episode. Gotta bring that up. Very first episode. So we're just gonna do a couple of small introductions. My name is Kyle. I have been a wrestling fan pretty much all my life. Starting right like pretty much the beginning of the Attitude Era, and I have never stopped, even during what people call the Dark Ages. So I have always been a fan. Watched WCW as the internet grew. I have grown as a fan. So New Japan, I mean WWE is obvious. New Japan, ROH, but yeah, I've always been a wrestling fan, always. So that's part of the reason why I decided to do this with these three gentlemen, because I believe our combined knowledge of wrestling is pretty decent. But
Understatement. Yes.
yeah, right, seriously. But yeah, so and just side stuff, love cosplay, love comics, video games. That's pretty much all of us. Anime, cartoons, like you name it, freaking game shows, you name it, I love it, almost. So, Troy, introduce yourself.
Ah, well, many things to say, but time restrictions and whatnot. Not at this point. I'm Troy. Of course, my. I'm Troy. I am. I am the creator. I am the owner. I am the president and CEO. I guess you can say of something called the Council of Commentary, which we all know and love and are a part of. And this podcast, The Four Corners of Commentary, is basically derived from that beautiful thing that we've all basically been a part of and helped create in some sort of way or fashion. Um, the council has been around for, I believe, as of this year, 4 years, if not five. No, because we started in 2015.
Yeah.
Started on February 11th, 2015. And we've been going ever since. We started as a New Day. What was it? What was it, Christian and Brandon? Was it a New Day
New Day
Sports
Entertainment.
Entertainment?
Something like
I think it was New Day Entertainment or New Day
that.
Sports
New Day
Entertainment.
Sports and Entertainment, I want to say.
And then
Right.
trademarking.
Something like that. Yeah.
So, that's before we started to make this an actual thing. One day I just looked up and searched on, we were just going through names and I just Googled the Council of Commentary because I have a thing with alliteration. I always love alliteration for poetry. So, the Council of Commentary was born 2 years later. Uh, Within that span of time, we've had fantasy leagues, we've had a bunch of people that have joined who also added their friends, which everybody that participates in this and sees this can definitely add us too. Um, our Facebook group is just literally that, the Council of Commentary. We have a Twitter. Our Twitter is called CO Commentary on Twitter, and our IG is literally word for word the Council of Commentary. As for me, myself, I started getting into wrestling actually in '96. I was a little boy, starting to go to not even '96, I should say. I would say about '97, '98. I used to ride on a Haitian, one of the school buses to go to school. I used to go to a private school called Saint Therese. Uh, and we had kids on a bus, very rambunctious bunch of kids, but they would always be wrestling with each other, would always be type of like, fighting, cutting promos and stuff like that. In the little bus that we drove in, and it, piqued my interest because everybody was talking about, oh, did you see Monday Night Raw? Did you see what happened with Stone Cold? Did you see what happened with The Rock? And I was interested. At that time, I didn't have cable. So once '98 hit, that's when I started to watch the Monday Night Raws. I started to get into, Stone Cold. Stone Cold's one of my favorites. The Rock was a major favorite of mine. and I started to watch Monday Night Raw more so than WCW, which I didn't really get into at all. But I always used to watch WWE or WWF at the time. As for things that I do on the side or things that I love, just as Kyle said, we all love cosplay, we all love video games, we all love anime, we all love sports, movies, comic books, things of that sort of nature. We're all nerds at heart. So I don't want to repeat that over again, but we all pretty much have the same interests. And that's about it.
Cool. All right, Brandon, you up?
Well,
He's actually going to face the camera.
yeah,
You gotta break the fourth wall, bro.
absolutely. How's everybody doing? Name is Brandon. I always get, excuse the voice, it's always a different like nickname for me. They always call me Quiet Storm, but I go by even Brandon on this. So I could say, excuse the sound. I already know, like that just knows that we still moving. But I could say what got me into wrestling. I mean, I've been a fan of wrestling since I'd say maybe 96. Yeah, 95, 96. So that's pretty much been a part of my childhood for my entire life. My favorite, what got me into watching wrestling, of course, everybody who knows me knows this, and I've been like I'm a stan or addict for The Undertaker. I've always, like, as soon as I like saw him on my TV screen one day, I automatically was just drawn to it. And every single time I've always just, I was always like hooked on it for every Monday when it started being on Friday night or Thursday nights for SmackDown. I would be just tuned in, like always tuned in for any time The Undertaker would be on TV, like anytime even coming to like elementary school the next day. I literally just always talked about The Undertaker. Always, any of the wrestling games played, I'd always play as The Undertaker. That was like my favorite. That was my favorite. That was my guy, my favorite wrestler, no matter what. That's what got me hooked up to wrestling. I could say being a fan of wrestling is like, I just added on to the many layers of who I am as a person because, I like reading. I like anime. I like mangas, anime, different anime shows, cosplay. I love to see it. Never done it, but I love to see it. Love to see the cosplay going on, video games, and like I like reading in my spare time. Of course, it's like another passion I got is of course music. I just like I'm able to, I know I like to break down so many things. So I think what I could bring to this podcast is just being able to break down the business, what is going on in the business of the status today, and break down character-wise, like who the origin of that character, who inspired them, and exactly like why. I think I could bring that to the table at least. But for the most part, I thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for even like going on this journey with us. And I hope that y'all just stay with us along the way.
Nice. And last, but damn sure not least, Christian, what's going on, man?
Thank you, brother. So my name is Christian. I've been a fan of wrestling pretty much my entire life. So my earliest memories of watching professional wrestling is probably started, I would say, maybe 1991. I got into it. My grandmother was a huge fan. Did everything with my grandmother when I was a child, watched a lot of TV with her. And professional wrestling was like the one thing that always caught my eye. Some of my earliest memories is just like remembering like Hulk Hogan like walking down the aisle and like with his Hulkamaniacs going crazy and everything. But I was always a huge Bret Hart fan also as a kid. So seeing him, become Intercontinental Champion. My favorite match is actually Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam 91, which is like the match I remember the most from being a child. Some of my outside interests, I actually just recently graduated with master's degree.
Round of
Thank
applause.
you. I actually just recently graduated with my MSW. So I'm looking to get into the social work field at some point. point. Hopefully things get better in society so I can actually go out and apply for a job. With that said, you know, a lot of the statements that the guys have been saying, you know, heavy into video games, you know, I've never cosplayed, but I do love to see it. You know, definitely into game shows. Like Kyle said, I'm a trivia buff, especially when it comes to like wrestling and music and things of that nature. I can talk about music all day, but I also write a lot of poetry on the side too. So it's a lot of creative writing. So, you know, just trying to take things one day at a time. And just like this podcast, I hope you guys out there that are listening to this or watching this take things one day at a time, you know, and so excited that you guys are on this journey with us as well. So.
Cool. Something, because y'all intros are like way better than mine. Jeez, my heart. Something
I mean, you could definitely just add. You could add.
No, of course. Something
We're on this journey together.
I did right. Falcor. Something I forgot to mention. When it comes to wrestling and my love of wrestling, The Rock has always been my favorite. There has been nobody that you couldn't tell me that there was anybody better than the great one, the People's Champion, the most electrifying man of all entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Just real quick, one of my fondest memories was when The Rock did that famous promo where they just let him go, and he's talking about the Rocky die chants, and you know, it just his charisma and his the way he approached the business, and to see what he's become now has always inspired me. There's not, you know, like I said, there's nothing you could tell me, you know, I love, you know, I love wrestling, period. I love, you know, majority of gimmicks. We all have the ones we don't like. It is what it is. We're people, we have our opinions. But there is nobody that you could tell me that was better than The Rock, especially on the mic. But once again, that's my opinion. So thank you again, everyone, for watching, for listening, however you're viewing this, however you are getting this podcast. We really appreciate it. And there will definitely be more to come. Gentlemen, I would like to get into the current state of wrestling, at least what our opinion is. There's been a lot going on. COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever you want to call it, the Kilco, whatever you want to call it nowadays.
Steve Corino
has been the Steve Corino. Oh no.
We can't compare Steve Corino. He's a good man. We're not going to do that.
Shout out to Mr. Corino and Kobe. Shout out to, you know, them. You know, there has been a lot going on since the beginning, the end of last year. The coronavirus has definitely changed our society, especially when it comes to sports. So, between that and then there's, of course, the protest and everything else. But we shall get into that on our next episode when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement and everything going on when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, the current state of wrestling, Brandon, let's start with you. How do you feel about there being no fans yet? You know, company people in the crowd, be it NXT superstars, be it, you know, people who work at AEW. New Japan just started back up with no crowd, just, you know, cameraman, referee, and all of that. So how do you feel about what it's like right now?
I feel that with everything that's going on, wrestling promotions like, you know,
hold on, Brandon. Unmute yourself.
Oh, I'm mute.
Sorry about that. That was my fault. I apologize. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I just feel that with the current state that we're in, I feel like, you know, promotions like AEW and WWE, they're taking the safest precaution as much as they can, because it's first when this virus first started, you didn't really, everybody was just like, you know, walking on a thin line or like walking on eggshells. You didn't really know exactly what to really think of this. But then like once we saw like, you know, unfortunately more people kept getting sick, more people actually kept dying from this. That's when we actually it just took our country by storm. So it's like we had no choice but to just everything had to just shut down and take a step back. And the unfortunate part is, you know, us as people, the one thing that we hate is when something gets taken away from us. We got our entertainment taken away. So then for them to like, you know, for WWE to like, or even AEW, for them to like still be able to finesse this or like finagle around to make this entertainment wise without no fans or even barely half their working staff at all. It's like, okay, this is kind of a step in the right direction. It's the okay direction. I mean, you know, there's going to be folks that sit here and think that, you know, that it shouldn't be happening right now. They should actually be staying home as well. But I think, you know, their companies, they're taking the precaution that, you know, they're getting tested as much as they can. So if that means that they have to just, you know, it's half the staff, you know, they give you the option if you want to work or you don't want to work. So if they don't work, it's okay. I mean, all right. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, your family comes first. But if you feel like, you know, you still want to try to be able to entertain the fans as is, I think that you should be commended for that. That should be something to clap about. But I also understand if performers decide that they don't want to work, they don't want to be around this, that's also all right. Like, you know, it's kind of like a slippery slope. It's like, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. So I guess you call that a catch-22, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Christian, pardon me. With that being said, we know that in the world right now, there's been a lot of people laid off, a lot of people let go. You know, nobody is immune to that. My question to you is, what do you think? How do you feel? Excuse me. How do you feel about that situation when it comes to the business? Or from of course, once again, we are fans, people. So this is just mainly our opinions. But yeah, Christian, what do you think? What do you think when it comes to that and the possibility of wrestlers going to different promotions in different corners of the world to get work and promote their brand?
Well, a business, even I think before COVID-19 hit, our mainland here, and I say our mainland, I do mean America. I think the business has always been like that, to which you have to kind of travel as a wrestler to get your brand out there and to, you know, make your presence known. With that said, because of COVID-19 and the restrictions that has happened had on travel, it makes it that much harder for the wrestlers to be able to promote themselves physically. I think it absolutely stinks, you know, that they were unfortunate business casualties of this pandemic. You know, I don't want to see anybody lose their job in any way, shape, or form. But at the same token, hopefully, when all this passes soon, you know, fingers crossed for that. I want to see not only the wrestling business, but society as a whole come back to some place of normalcy. You know, hopefully that this whole thing opens up a wealth of opportunity for independent promotions, smaller promotions such as, you know, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor. I think Progress Wrestling will be able to scout as many prospects as they can because of all this. Hopefully when all this passes, you know, the bubble that's been put on the wrestling business because of this, you know, will suddenly uplift, and, you know, everybody will be able to work somewhere where they're happy and healthy and able to get their brands out and able to improve their skills as well, you know.
All right, I got you. Troy, you there, bro? All right.
Yes, I made it back in time. I'm here.
So I will. I'll throw this to you. When it comes to everything going on with the protests and the current affairs when it comes to that in the world, and the entire world kind of like, or well, majority of the world, backing up, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter situation and all these things. About, so I'm trying to word it right. How do you feel about the wrestlers, you know, coming out and showing their support, or even, you know, support for either side, either side? Um, and do you think that it's okay for them to do that without being afraid of losing their jobs or anything like that?
Okay, so are you speaking of people speaking out in support of the protest, or you're speaking of both them supporting and people being against the
Both,
protest?
both.
Okay. So you're speaking on the issue of freedom of speech, of, you know, should people, you know, say what they want to say, pretty
Yeah.
much in this type of climate.
Mhm.
I don't think any wrestler should be chastised or, you know, punished for their views in general. I don't think that should be a thing. But I feel people, especially as grown-ups, you have to learn how to read the room. You can bring up Jackson Riker saying what he said in support of the president, but you also know that the president is against, you know, what is going on currently. He doesn't give two craps about what is going on currently.
Right.
So when you're in a big company like WWE, and you know you have people of color, I'm not going to just strictly say black, but when you know you have people of color, especially those who are dealing with, you know, immigration issues with their
Mhm.
families, you know, being profiled on the street just for being just a regular person on the street,
Right.
not knowing who they are, where they come from, or even being, you know, being properly detained for something that they did, rather than being, you know, racially profiled. You should be able to read the room and say, you know, I work with all these people, you know, I'm being presented an opportunity to hone my craft and show myself to the world. I don't think that it's necessary that people are, you know, vocally saying, oh, you know, I agree with racism. I agree
Right.
with
Right.
all the bad things in the world that's going on. You can just stay quiet. But I feel for the people who do speak up with the protests, you know, and they're, you know, speaking their truth. You have freedom of speech to do that, but there's a time and a place always for everything.
Right.
So
Um,
nobody's knocking. Sorry, I was gonna
no,
say
no, go
nobody's.
ahead, go ahead.
I'll say that nobody's knocking said person, which I mentioned already. Nobody's knocking said person for his views,
Mhm.
but nobody is saying. But you have to know that it's not the right time to do that,
Right.
because you
Well,
see the place in peril. You see how things are going.
yeah,
Support those people that you're working with, even though they might not have your same views.
right,
Support them, but at the same
right.
time, read the room. That is the main thing you always have to do as
Yeah.
just a human being in general. Doesn't matter your status. Read the room. If you don't have
Um,
anything good to say, don't say it.
yeah. No, agreed. Agreed. This one goes to everyone. Oh, my Christian, go
Yeah,
ahead,
everybody
sir.
going.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to Troy's point. You know, and I agree with you 100%. I just wanted to add to the fact that, you know, freedom of speech is exactly that, freedom of speech. You can say what you want, but that also doesn't mean you have freedom for rebuttal.
Right.
You know, um, with some of the things that Jackson Riker said, you know, by supporting well, not with some of the things that he said, he just supported the president. He has every right to do that. But he also has to stay cognizant that, you know, there's a section of people who view Donald Trump as a pariah and a divisive figure rather than a figure of somebody who's willing to listen and a
A
figure
leader.
that is, yeah, and for all intents and purposes, a leader, yes. I have no problem with Jackson Riker expressing his opinion or beliefs in any way, shape, or form. He is absolutely entitled to that. But he also has to realize, and I think he knows, I'm not implying that he doesn't know that in any way, shape, or form, but he also has to know that there's a very vocal section of people who will disagree with him and let him
Right.
know that they
Right.
disagree with him, you know?
Agreed. This goes out to all of us. Slightly staying on a similar topic. Uh, what do you think about all these black champions? Like, granted, I mean, it's not like it's the first time. You know, I don't fans, people watching the show, listening to the show. If you remember, or maybe not, there was an Instagram post with the New Day, Sasha Banks, and I believe Rich Swann. That was a number of years ago. Sure,
Black
hashtag Black Excellence. Yep. You know, and currently in the business, or at least in the WWE, we have many black champions. Now, I don't necessarily think it's a ploy. I just think it is. It just happened to go that way. But do you think that the views of fans, do you think that view is, okay, well, you know, all of this is going on, you know, are they making these champions minorities because of everything going on? And Troy, start off.
Yeah, I guess I'll start off. I say no. I say no, and people will always shit on WWE. Part of my language, if that's unacceptable. But people will always poop on WWE for trying to conform or just doing things just so fans don't have backlash. No, I think the pieces fell together at a good place
Mm-hmm.
because all the champions we have now are liked. And if they're disliked because of their heel status, then they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. But I feel
Right.
everybody, all the pieces just managed to fall in place. We didn't know this George Floyd thing was going to. So you can't necessarily say, oh, they're just giving all the black people in wrestling championships now in WWE because, oh, they want to feed off of that. No, I don't think that should be in any sort of way a thing. I think because of coronavirus, which is really what people should be speaking about or should be have in the back of their head in terms of why things are changing so much at the moment with what WWE was doing, you have to push new faces. You have to push people that people like. And then if you have one or two heels that are very big heels, but still very likable, very understandable heels, you have those going around.
Right.
So I'll just even break it down a little further. We had the Street Profits. Everybody loves the Street Profits. A lot of people may dislike their comedy acts or the fact that they're always jovial, but you can't tell me that there's not one person who doesn't like what they're doing in the ring. You
Right.
can't tell me that nobody wanted Sasha and Bailey as the tag champions when their whole situation from why they basically broke apart and why Sasha went away for so many months was because of the titles and how they were being treated on TV. Now they have the titles again, and look how exciting they're going to make them.
Right.
They just defended on NXT last night.
Great match.
They just fought the Iconics. They just fought at Backlash in a triple threat match. Like these are all things that you want as champions. You want fighting champions.
Right.
Apollo Crews, which was a huge surprise. Apollo Crews is finally doing what everybody knows he can do, and he's actually a champion now.
Right.
Look at Lashley. Lashley's with MVP. Who would have thought Lashley actually has a competent manager, who just happens to be black. A competent manager who happens to be black. Not a black manager.
Yeah, because he could have definitely had Heyman. And I'm not talking crap about Heyman. I love Heyman. He's one of my favorite excuse me, people to ever work in the industry, period. Top 5 of all time, personally. Anyways. But right. It's just so happened that MVP is working,
now. Right. So you're seeing all of these talents shine. I mean, you even have you have NXT with a Latino faction, you have Raw Latino faction. You could even say SmackDown has a Latino faction with Lucha House Party. So you're seeing people of color get chances. Right. Obviously, you still have prominent white champions that are going to be around, but they're not there for privilege reasons. They actually know what the hell they're doing.
Right. They work their ass off for it.
So you can't blame WWE or say WWE is pandering. They're not pandering.
Right. Gentlemen?
I could agree. I can't agree with Troy on that. Like it says, like I feel WWE probably is the one promotion that has the most black champions to date. And honestly, it has nothing. I don't even think it has anything to do with race. It literally just it's right. It just fell. Everything just fell in the right place, and they're just champions. They're just from hard work and dedication. They just happen to be black. That's
Right.
really just that's how I pretty much put it. It's like I said, like everybody trying to like link what's going on right now to like they're just giving it to them just based off their race. I feel like that's that's a lot of ignorant and misinformation right there. I think that though people who are saying that are just trying to cause a type of division, like they're trying to like throw divisive darts into the mix, and there's no need for that. Like I said, because that's taken away from their work. Like look at Apollo Crews. He's been literally he's been from obscurity. He's been in obscurity for so long, and now but he still kept going. Hard work, and dedication, and he's finally got his break. He's finally got a title. We've been begging to see Apollo Crews get a title, and he finally has one. So why is it that why minimize that hard work that he's been doing to just put it on his color of his skin? Like, I feel like that's such a tacky way. That's tacky. You have the New Day. New Day is, I think, what they're now.
Their 8th title reign.
Eight-time tag champs. They have the longest tag team title reign in history. They have the longest reign. Now, honestly, nobody's probably going to beat it. Nobody's going to beat it. That's a hill I'll die on. Nobody's beating the New Day's tag team title reign.
Till 3,000 and no.
Hot take of the day. Bam.
Nobody's taking it, and it's crazy because it's like they're still one of the highest marketable acts in the business. And then you have not only the New Day on SmackDown.
Excuse me.
You have the Street Profits. Street Profits are tag champ. Like, and look how long we were hoping to see the Street Profits get a title, and they finally got it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's like when you look at it all over the years from Ahmed Johnson to now, I think it's just like, once again, it just so happens. It shows like, hard work and dedication and timing. It all depends on timing. It just so happens, like I said again, they just so happen to be black.
Right.
They just happen to be black. It's nothing more to it. It's nothing against it. It's just hard work, dedication. And I guess, as Vince always says, they're trying to still reach that brass ring. They're trying to still reach that brass ring. And we just need to just accept it for what it is and just enjoy the entertainment, and not try to bring, while that scenario is real, don't try to bring it from there into this, because it's not working right now. That's not what it is.
Agreed. Christian, you still there, bro? Christian, you there?
I'm still here.
All right. Well, what about you, man?
Fantastic. I agree with everything that Brandon and Troy said. But I just wanted to add on to it that this is a hell of a time to be a wrestling fan of color, because we are in a day and age where more than ever, there are more opportunities for wrestlers of color to be highlighted, to showcase their skills, and on a grand stage as well. You see WWE. To answer the question, I don't think that is pandering to a subsection of their audience in any way, shape, or form. I think that all of this organically happened, and a lot of these performers just happen to be excellent performers of color. Right. And we've come a long way. Like, if you look at the WWE, I'm so glad Brandon mentioned Ahmed Johnson, it was the example I was going to mention, because he is actually the first Black Intercontinental Champion. He is the first Black singles champion in WWE. And that took until 1996 to crown. 1996. And the WWE has been in existence since they were the Capital Wrestling Federation, I believe, in the 50s. So we have come such a long way from the starting point of the WWE until now, to have all these Black champions in one place, under one umbrella, for this huge company, the #1 wrestling organization in the world, as far as a global footprint is concerned. For them to be highlighted, representation matters. There might be some child of color out there that's watching just like how we were when we were children, and they see champions that look like them. That is so important going forward, not only for the business but for the microcosm of society that wrestling represents.
Right.
You know, it just felt like as a fan of color, it fills me with pride to see all those champions of different origins and different, you know, ethnicities and things of that nature. So.
Yeah, to add on to what you guys are saying also, something that resonated within the last number of years, you know, besides all these champions and all the talent getting the pushes and whatever the case may be, Kofi winning the WWE title at WrestleMania, you know, when you listen to interviews or you watch when they talk about it, or, you know, I'm not getting paid for this, but on the New Day podcast, I wish I was getting paid. No, but you know, like, you know, they say it all the time. You know what I mean? First off, Kofi has been in the WWE for so long, and he's done so much. And you know, he was you know, it seemed like, you know, as a fan, it seemed like he was the go-to guy for such a long time. I mean, multiple intercontinental titles, multiple US titles, multiple tag titles, and you know, him just winning, you know, the big one at Mania against a Daniel Bryan that we've, you know, as a character we've never really seen before. You know, like I think something like that is so inspiring. You know, especially with the way that it happened. It just happened so organically, and I think that's what made it so special. You know, like Ali got hurt, Kofi filled in, but everybody just got behind. You know, it was at a point where we were all just like, yo, just give Kofi the belt. You know, and he had what, like a 6-month run after that, and he was putting on good matches. You know, so it's good to see. You know, to go back to the initial question, I agree with you guys. You know, I don't think it's pandering. I don't think it's you know, Black Lives Matter. So here are all the champions who are light skinned, dark skinned, mixed, Mexican, Puerto Rican, like, you know. So I completely agree with you guys. I definitely do think that that it's great that we have all of these, you know, champions of color, of different minorities. But I agree. I do also think that it's all about timing. It just so happened that, you know, all of this was going on as we have all of these champions. Let's change the tune a little bit. Let's go with our current favorite gimmicks. If you want to do 3, we can do 3. If you want to do 1, we can do 1. I'll start off this one. I'm gonna go. The first one that pops in my head is The Fiend. I think The Fiend is I think the way that Bray Wyatt has changed, and I loved Bray Wyatt when he was the other version. But I think, or the Eater of Worlds, let's say it like that. But I think his dedication and the way his mind works, and that they're letting him do the things that he does, is incredible. I mean, you know, I was unsure about him as Bray Wyatt, as the, you know, Mr. Rogers-esque character wrestling. I was very I don't want to say standoffish. That's not what it was. I was very worried that they were going to make that part of his current character weak, or you know, not look as strong as The Fiend. I mean, I knew he was going to be as strong as The Fiend, because The Fiend is this whole, you know, supernatural Undertaker-esque type. You know, like, he can, you know, he can take a beating, but he's going to get back up, you know, and very quickly. But I think The Fiend right now, you know, every time he comes out, and the fact that they're not bringing them out every night is something else that makes it so special. That's similar to Finn Balor. When Finn Balor does the Demon, you know, it's not every night. It's not every, you know, 3 weeks. It's not every pay-per-view. And I think that's what you have to do to keep it. When you have characters like that, where they have a different personality per se, I think that's what you have to do, or a different side, I should say. That's what you have to do to keep people interested. You have to not put that other side on TV all the time. You know, that's like Finn's current situation in NXT. You know, he's gone back to the Prince. You know what I mean? Back to his to a similar era when he was in New Japan, when he turned on Taguchi. You know, I think you know, we haven't seen the Demon in quite some time. So when it does come back, it's going to be huge, huge. But yeah, so the Fiend right now, if we go tag teams, I still love the New Day. You know, I love what the Street Profits are doing. Big fan of the Viking Raiders. I mean, I'm also just a fan of tag teams. Young Bucks, even AEW. You know, Young Bucks. I've always been a fan of Cody's. I've Kenny, even, you know, Private Party, and I mean, even our women. Like, there's just so much. I can't even name a favorite now that I'm thinking about it. but I think overall, I'm pretty. I would like to think that the Fiend right now, you know, Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, be it promos and his work in the ring, is definitely top notch for me, at least, you know, as of right now. Christian, let's go with you.
I think this segment should just be named what other gimmicks we like other than the Fiend. As number
Yeah,
one.
right? Because we all love him.
As number one. With that said, I think the gimmick that I would like to highlight the most right now is probably the Dark Order. I absolutely love what the Dark Order does in AEW. I like the vibe that one of the first things I thought of when they kind of did like the revamping of like them being more streamlined than just mysterious and stuff like that. Like, these are organized guys in suits and they're like, you know, an organization that are looking to recruit people. The first thing I thought of when I saw the website was Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, they get people to literally come into a building and sign up to learn about this religion. Like, what does it entail? Oh, we can't tell you now. You have to sign up. Like, you know, very rarely do you have that conversation with somebody that's like passing out Dianetics flyers out somewhere. And it's like, you know, oh, come to this meeting, like, take this test, you know, do this, do that. Like, what does it entail? And it looks on the outside very, like, how can I put this? Not enticing, but it looks intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see something like that, like all these guys are successful. Like, you know, why wouldn't I want to sign up? Like, and they did the vignettes with the guy that felt like he had no friends, and then he went to the meeting and stuff like that. And it's like, why do you want to join? It's like to make friends. Like, you know, it feels like a cult, and I think that's what makes it work, because it's if you do. Are
you trying to tell us something, man?
Oh no, I'm not.
Are you trying to? I think,
most religious groups want you to give up bacon, and I'm not giving up pork to join a group of people. But it just feels as if it's like, you know, you kind of know it's wrong, but you want to learn more. It feels like forbidden. It feels mysterious. Like, I love what they're doing now, like, as far as like recruiting talent. Like, if you watched AEW yesterday, they came up to Colt Cabana. Very nice.
Sorry, folks, this is the third. We're recording this on Thursdays, releasing it on Fridays. Sorry, I meant to mention that earlier. You have to excuse me for cutting them off like that.
No worries. Thank you for pointing that out. We are recording on Thursdays, releasing on Fridays. So our wrestling week actually ends on that Thursday. So we'll be recapping a lot of stuff prior to that. So if you did watch AEW or did not watch AEW,
spoiler.
So spoilers.
There will always be spoilers.
There will be spoilers
on Thursdays.
Yes. With that said, they came up to Colt Cabana. You know, Evil Uno had on his suit, flanked by Stu Grayson, and they had a manila envelope, and they just handed it to him. He looks in the envelope. It's like a little contract that says like you will join the Dark Order. Da, 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 this, that, and the third. It's like a questionnaire. That, and to contrast,
Excuse me.
like the style of how professional that was when the young lady, I can't remember her name, the young lady that
Anna
lost to
Jay.
Abaddon.
Anna Jay.
Anna
Anna
Jay,
Jay,
yes.
yeah.
Anna Jay. I was going to say Allison Kay, who's Sienna and wrestles for the NWA, but Anna Jay, yes.
Oh.
They just came in and took her. Like it wasn't professional at all. They just abducted a person on live TV. It's like so contrastly
Not the
different.
first time in wrestling.
Right, not the first time, but but it was just so contrastly different from how they recruited Colt Cabana that made
Right.
it stand out. And I like to see where it would be going after that. So my pick would be the Dark Order. It's like a current favorite gimmick that I like to see
Cool.
right now.
Cool. Troy, let's go with you, man.
I'm there with you, Kyle. Like I can't really pick two. I can't pick three.
It's so difficult.
5. It is very difficult. But I will say, because the character is so in tune with me as a person, I effing
Velveteen Dream?
Well, he's one of the three. Well, he's one of the three. But I was gonna say, Orange Cassidy is by
okay.
far one of the
Yep.
best gimmicks out at this moment.
Agreed.
Now, spoilers. Yesterday's AEW ended with Orange Cassidy standing tall. Now, if you know Orange Cassidy as a character, very cool, very laid back, doesn't like to exert energy. But in every match that he's in, at least between the last maybe 5 to 10 minutes of the match, he amps up. So he goes from 0 to 100 real quick in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the match.
Right.
To have that character come out the way he did and attack Chris Jericho from jump, no agitation, no nothing last night, by far you can see his levels with his character as
Right.
well as the levels of his wrestling prowess.
Right.
Because if you look at how he was punching, like here's the psychology of all this stuff is going. If you see the way that he was punching Jericho last night, it wasn't sloppy. It was very precise. He made sure he was hitting him on the noggin when he was hitting him. You know when somebody's in such a frustration that they're hitting somebody and
Yeah.
it just looks like it's flailing? Cassidy hit those punches like he was actually trying to beat that man up.
Mm-hmm.
And to have a character as laid back as him come out and do something so calculated and so precise, you can love him as, you know, as his lazy self, but you can also never say that that man cannot wrestle. That man cannot turn up when he needs to turn up.
Right.
So by far, that is one of my favorite gimmicks at this moment. I'll even throw out a second one. You did say Velveteen Dream, but I want to do the exact opposite of Velveteen Dream. I say Dexter Lumis is a very big gimmick that you should be watching right now.
Yeah.
Good call.
It is scary to have a person who does not speak at all, but also he doesn't have a manager speaking for him.
Right.
I think that in this time is very crazy. 2, the man can draw. I don't know if you noticed,
Can he?
but the man can draw. And he's drawing out every little bit of everything that he is going to do to you. If you've seen the recent takeover, you've seen that man drew out that he's going to get in the car and he's going to drive away with the Undisputed Era. The creepy cold stare, yes, but when you see that man smile when he's in pain,
Mm-hmm.
you have to back away. From his entrance, just the cold stare. From him sliding in the ring, looking like a snake. From him popping up from under the ring. This is all, you know, all the qualities of a scary character.
Right.
And you can literally put him as an assassin. If you really wanted to, you could definitely make him an assassin. But these are characters. We showed 2 different companies with 2 specifically different characters. But that is the type of character work you need to keep building on as a company. And I feel that is what a lot of fans will gravitate towards too.
Right. Brandon, before I go to you, just something I wanted to mention real quick. Like I said, it's extremely difficult to just streamline one particular character or group. But I must say, the Undisputed Era, I've been watching them for the longest. I mean, to me, right now, there is no better stable. I know that's saying a lot, but currently, I think they definitely have the best stable in wrestling. At least in the States. I'll say that. Definitely in the States.
You don't want to go into New
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah, because we will hit New Japan Pro Wrestling and talk other promotions in future episodes. But between them and I have to point out Keith Lee. I have to, because Keith Lee outside of the WWE I'll do it like this, outside of NXT was still amazing, still wonderful, still such a talent and such a draw that when he came into NXT and you see the matches he's had with Dijakovic and you've seen the matches he's had with Gargano, and I mean Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar, I mean at the Royal Rumble, come on. Like there is no, to me as of right now, I think one of the brightest futures in the WWE is Keith Lee. Go ahead, Brandon. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get that out real quick.
I mean, you kind of already took. Already took.
Oh, my bad.
It's like, oh well, there's that. Like you guys. So I mean, it really sucks because like everybody's favorite is going at the top. Of course, is going to be Bray. It's the Fiend, but I mean, I would say I've always been a fan of Bray's gimmick from when he was with the early vignettes of the Wyatt family, because it reminds me of because Bray will reminds me of Waylon. He literally is it's everybody always try to say it's an esque of the Undertaker. No, Bray's whole character is from Waylon Mercy. And I like that's what I always love, that he's paying homage. He pays homage to Waylon Mercy, always pays homage to him in some way. If it wasn't through like the Wyatt family, in the swamps, or with the vignettes, and he's telling you like, hey, like he got when he had Rowan and Harper at the time, and he had them telling us like, hey, come here, come this way. Mm-hmm. And you're following them into the swamp, and like you're looking around, you're like you're thinking like, oh, this is really gonna be a cult. Like, wow, this is real. This is you. Mm-hmm. You were scared. You were scared to you were wondering. You didn't know when they were gonna debut, but you knew they were coming. And you knew he was coming. You just didn't know when. Then I guess it's like even till now, he does it even with the Buzzard, Mercy the Buzzard. You don't know. You didn't know when Bray was coming, but you knew he was coming. You didn't know when. You just don't know where. I think it's. I always laugh. I laugh actually I find it funny with the Dark Order. What makes me laugh with Dark Order, I'm not really necessarily a fan of them, but I think I said it before. You gotta give them credit, because they're at least with Dark Order, you're getting a job. Everybody's getting a job. Everybody's getting a job. So I think that's very cool that they're coming out and they're giving everybody they have with the manila envelopes with the papers telling me if you want to join the Dark Order, this is how you do it. It's like, oh, okay, so they're giving everybody a job. It's for the community. I like that. Yep. But I really got to go back. If there's one character gimmick that I really did not, I actually wasn't a fan of, but I actually grew to love, it is the Velveteen Dream. Because Velveteen Dream, at first, I looked at it, I was just like, okay, this is like a Prince knockoff. I'm not feeling this. But it's like, overall, it's just like, it's not even just him being a knockoff of Prince. Like, Velveteen Dream is just so, I love that he's so cocky and smug with it. And he's just like, he can get help from anywhere, but he always says, it's like, the Velveteen Dream is a solo act. And he is. He's just, you can't take it away from him. He is a solo act no matter what. He always finds a way. And it's so funny, he always finds a way to bring so many different characters into his matches. Like, literally with the match, the backlot brawl he just had with Adam Cole, He literally was just a lot of people who don't watch, if you watch Walking Dead, Velveteen Dream is just dressed like Negan. He was Negan.
Yep.
Velveteen Negan. Like he's Velveteen Negan, or he'll be funny enough to have the person's name or the person on his swim trunks, taking that from like Rick Rude or something, so to speak. Like Rick Rude. It's like you have to respect that Velveteen Dream will take so many people from past or present and bring that into his line of work. And it's just like while still like beating you up, while still hitting you with the Purple Rainmaker. It's just so it's just so funny to watch that. And I think another thing to watch out for gimmick wise that I have had my eye on, and I'm paying attention to it intently, is Karrion Kross. Say which, like, of course, I mean, I love the fact that he has a beautiful valet with him, a beautiful manager that she doesn't say. Scarlett says nothing, but it's okay. She doesn't have to say anything. I just watch. You want to watch her because she's beautiful, and of course she comes out in bodysuits. You just want to watch. But then you watch and you see it's Karrion Kross, like right there, like, and he's just gonna decimate and run through everybody. So I think while it is with Keith Lee, Keith Lee, he's gonna be a future. I've already said it before, and I know it's gonna happen. He's gonna be a future WWE champion. There's nothing. There's no taking that away. Like Keith Lee is going. Once you saw. Not even from what you saw when he was in the ring with Brock Lesnar for the Royal Rumble, what you guys saw of Keith Lee at Survivor Series when he was on Team NXT, like he literally was this close to making NXT the sole survivors. Like he was this close to doing it. So I already know, like, Keith Lee is going to be a future WWE champ. I know Velveteen Dream is going to be when he gets called up, they need to put that Intercontinental title on Velveteen Dream, and he's going to be one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time. He will. He's going to make that title. It's going to make it beautiful. Even if you push him.
Bookmark that.
Bookmark it. Even if they push him into the main event with a WWE title. A title on Velveteen Dream, he elevates it and makes it it just makes it better. And then, even if he doesn't get a title, it's just his act alone. Just make him keep on with what he's doing now. Just let them keep it, and you're gonna realize, like, when he really gets onto the main roster, you'll be surprised to see how many people are walking around with a belt.
And he's a great wrestler. Like he's you've seen him from Tough Enough, and you were kind of thought he was gonna win at one point, but he's definitely grown into something unique.
He's really grown to himself. He's grown into it. And it's just like, okay.
Go ahead, Brandon.
There's one. If there's go ahead. I want to add one too, but go ahead and finish.
No. I'm just saying, growing into himself, and it's just when you look at it, it's just it's like before. He was a little smug. He was a little arrogant, a little cocky. But now it's just like, okay, he still is arrogant, and cocky. But
that's his character, though.
It's his character. I was just like, okay, but I just, like, outside of it, you could tell, like, all right, he's maturing. It's just going along. It's going along. He's going with the motions, and you just hope to see, like, they got to keep whatever they have with Velveteen Dream. If you don't even want to bring him up, keep him down in NXT as long as possible, because when he does get called up, it's going to be red hot, because now NXT is on national. It's on cable providers now. It's on TV. It's not just on the network. So now when he does get called up, everybody knows who the Velveteen Dream is. Right. Everybody know who it is. Everybody respects the Velveteen Dream. And it's just like you're gonna want to be the Velveteen Dream. You're gonna want to be him. I would love to see the Velveteen Dream going, even with feuds going. He'll even outshine the Miz. I'll say that. The Velveteen Dream is going to come when he comes on the main roster. He's literally going to outshine so many people on there, and it's going to wake, and it's going to shake the table. It's going to wake a couple people up. Can't wait to see.
Especially a lot of people who just depend on promo work to do a lot of their stuff for them. Velveteen is literally the mesh of both. He can be the cocky heel. He can still be the cocky face as well.
Yes.
It's a character that's easy to.
He backs it up.
oscillate between face and heel. I would like to see him do more of like the gender bender type stuff, like the Gold Dust like type work that he was doing at one point, like using innuendos and stuff like that. I would like to see more stuff like that out of him. But that's a very good call calling Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, for sure.
The one gimmick that I wanted to point out that I'm not too sure if a lot of people are talking about it. It's a prominent wrestler too, but I don't think he's getting enough credit for it. Is the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
I think some of the best promo work he's ever done is out from this character.
Yeah.
They actually made him a talker.
Whole like pseudo like Jesus Christ vibe and everything with like his logos and iconography and stuff like that. But now he's kind of like switched from like the God complex thing to like just a guy that believes in his cause so much that it's like it almost makes him seem believable. Like his hypocrisy is believable. Like he's like talking like how he hurt Rey Mysterio. It's like, no, I never meant to hurt him. Like he seems so genuine when he says that, but you know, and I think that's the sign of a good heel, where it's like, you know what he's doing is bad, but he believes it so much that it gets you to believe it.
Right.
I think he's doing excellently as a heel character. And I absolutely love it.
I mean, Seth is such an amazing heel. Anyway, I feel like Seth will definitely, Seth will definitely, like, once that Hall of Fame starts, being thrown around and for what reason, he'll have the Randy Orton syndrome where Randy could be a great face, but he's such an amazing heel.
About to say, going back to that.
Same thing with Triple H. But Randy Orton,
Randy's gimmick right now.
Yeah,
it's literally red hot. Like, my God. And it's so funny. It's so funny because like Randy's gimmick is, as of right now, he literally believes it. He literally believes it. Like he feels he's saving you. He's trying to make you go back to your family. Like look what he just did with Edge. He's just like, yo, like he really believes it. And then after the match, like now we're seeing it, spoiler alert, for those who haven't seen Backlash, if you've seen the highlights, you've seen it. Orton's brought back the one move that we wanted to see him bring back for so long. He brought back the punt kick. And it's just, and the crazy, it's not even, and
Kids,
the crazy
don't try that at home.
No, don't, please don't do it. Please don't. Because if you guys do it at home and you're
getting punched. No.
If if you punch a friend or you punch your wife.
Yeah.
Disclaimer.
Punch your friends, punch your wife.
Disclaimer, the four corners of the commentary. We were not
condone what you do outside of the
not at all.
But
not for domestic violence, play violence, any violence.
On this disclaimer. But if that is your speed, like if somebody goes to an epileptic shock with that, please, that's just know it's from that punt. Don't do it. Don't do it at home. But the fact that Randy's doing it and he's done it to Edge. And you see, like, he's like laying next to him, like he's whispering those words to him, like telling him, like, oh, like, I didn't need to do this, but you needed this. You needed this. I saved you. Like, I saved you. I did you a favor. I did it for your family. Go to your family. Take care of your kids. And now he even did this to Christian. Like, he's going around, like, when medical personnel, the EMTs are literally over here trying to, put the brace on Christian's neck, and he's like asking them, like, do you guys need me to help you guys with anything? Is he okay?
Great.
He's is he okay? You just did this to him. You kicked him in the head.
Right.
We don't need you to do anything. Like, we don't need you to do anything.
It's the duality.
Like, Jesus Christ. Like the last thing that we need you to do is help. Just stay away. Like, and he's just over there. He's like, he's yelling in the background, like, I did this for you, Christian. Like, I did this for you. And it's just like, you're just looking at it. You're like, and it's Kyle, like, you actually said this while we were actually watching Backlash. You said, like, you said he was I don't know if it was to agree to say that he was the Madonna of wrestling, that he's either Madonna or no, he's the Michael Jackson.
No, he's the Michael Jackson of wrestling.
The Michael Jackson of wrestling, yeah. Because I said the Undertaker was the Madonna of wrestling, yeah. I kind of would agree with that. Like, Randy he could be the Michael Jackson right now.
Yeah, he makes the smallest moves look so amazing. I mean, something like a power slam, be it Goldust or excuse me, Dustin Rhodes, especially right now, like between him, who's the other one? Oh, I'm blanking out now. Ooh, somebody else does a power slam, like has a power slam. I know Cody has one, but there's nobody, and the way he pulls it out, like Randy, like he does, like I said, the smallest things, even something like a punt, like the punt kick, which is number one, extremely dangerous if you do it wrong. So for the fact
If you
that the
take it wrong
wrestlers,
too.
Not only
If you
right,
that,
take it
right.
wrong too.
So
not only
the
just
fact,
his moves, but the way he speaks, like his
yeah,
mannerisms.
everything.
You
It's
know, you
amazing.
can
Everything's
always see a
methodical.
switch. Yeah, you can always see like sometimes when somebody talks to you, like a switch that something
Yeah.
about it is about to happen. He's the
Yep.
master at doing that.
Yep.
Like I love watching him talk.
Yeah, Troy. We're gonna end this topic with you. What were you gonna say before?
About what?
We were talking about the Velveteen Dream.
Okay. Actually, yeah. Good that you came back to that. No, I was gonna say that from jump with his character, we seen from Tough Enough that he was pretty much an asshole. He didn't care what anybody had to say. He knew he was good. He didn't want to hear from anybody. And a lot of the if I remember correctly, like the judges weren't feeling it. I know a lot of the fans weren't feeling it, stuff like that. But he left and he said, you know what, I'm gonna be something. I'm still gonna be something, regardless of this, regardless of what.
Right.
And to have him
remember that conversation with Jericho? That was Tough Enough where he spoke to them.
I remember, yeah.
Because that's what I believe. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's what Jericho told him on Tough Enough when they voted him off or whatever. He's like, listen, like you just got to keep going, but you will be something special. And I
And it's
think he
just
took that to
hilarious to
heart.
me. But it's hilarious to me that he lost. So he was fourth. I think he was fourth to last gone.
Yeah, something
I
like that.
believe.
Yeah.
It's just funny to me. Everybody else that supposedly won or was above him in the competition, where are they now?
Right. Right.
Why is Velveteen's first match against who was it? It was out. No, I'm not saying who was it, but I'm saying his biggest match or his first match was against Aleister Black. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this guy just talks crap. He doesn't know what he's doing. We don't even know if he's gonna be good." What happened? He
Yeah, that match
went
was
to the
crazy.
ring and performed to the point that everybody's eyes were bulging out of their heads.
Right.
To the fact
Right.
that Aleister Black looked at him different, like, who is this person? He's a brand
Right.
new guy. He's fighting me who's been around for maybe a decade plus, And he's basically getting an offense, kicking my ass. He's psychologically on par with me in the ring. And
Right.
he is showing to the world that this man can wrestle.
Right.
And what happened at the end of that match? He got the acknowledgement. So to say that
From everyone.
man has been his character, that man has been his character his whole run, from Tough Enough all the way up until now.
Right.
But for Randy Orton's best gimmick to me was the Legend Killer. Randy Orton was my favorite wrestler at the time when the Legend Killer gimmick was hot. I absolutely love that. So the fact that you're seeing the duality between the Apex Predator version of him, where he is just completely psychotic, and now he's bringing back the Legend Killer gimmick, where it's literally anything goes at this point.
Right. Right.
He has no threshold of pain. He has no threshold of thoughts where he's, concerned for your livelihood or your safety. Because if you remember on Monday, he was talking about, oh, this is my livelihood. This is my livelihood. It's as if, he's aging. It falls in that category of, I bring it back to like Ric Flair special. Ric Flair had I think it was a WWE 24 special. And they show clips of him when he came back and he was saying, oh, I'm not retiring. You'll never see me retire. I'll always be around. You'll never see the end of me. Randy is creeping into that territory.
Right.
Where he is still, one of the best wrestlers around. We may say some of his matches are boring. We may say some of his matches, don't really hold up to what we know he can hold up to in terms of his skill set. But there's no way you're telling me there's somebody, either better than him when he's red hot or could even wrestle like he does at his age,
Right.
as
Right.
methodically as he does. Because
I
that
mean-
man can still have your emotions on a swivel at any
Right.
point in time.
Right. I mean, personally, I think when it comes to people in the WWE, there's 1, 2, or 3 that can match Randy with stuff like that, but that's something we'll get into later. Gentlemen, folks, everybody at home, at work, driving, putting your kids to sleep, whatever you're doing, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate you listening to the first episode. Subscribe, like, listen, share, please. Christian, the places that people can reach you at.
You can check me on definitely our Council of Commentary Facebook group, which is a public group. So if you type in the Council of Commentary in the search bar, you will find us. You can check me on Instagram at Jador Sapio as well. That is JADORESAPIO at Instagram, where I am just a guy who likes beer and shares pictures of his life.
Cool. Troy.
As for me, I'm mainly running the social media along with a couple of other people. So you can definitely, shoot me a message on the Twitter, CO Commentary. You can shoot your message on IG as well at the Council of Commentary, same as you always see everywhere. And definitely check out the Facebook group. As Christian said, search it on Google, wherever you have your search engine, it will pop right up.
Brandon.
As for
My
me-
bad.
Sorry. As for me personally, I have I guess anything, I wouldn't say anything goes, but mainly my gaming Twitter that I use as just a regular, like personal place that I do speak to random people and stuff like that. You can find me at Striker Dragoon, DRAGOON.
All right.
Striker Dragoon on Twitter.
Cool. Brandon.
You can. I'm pretty
He has
much.
so many. He has to think about it.
I do have so many, but as Christian and Troy has said, you can find me. You can always find me at the Council of Commentary Facebook group. Like I said, I'm one of the admins. We are a open public forum. If you want it, just call. If you want to, put in an invitation. We're always open for new members. Please join. We're just like, you can follow me on Instagram at Forever Thiefin. And you already know if you can spell forever, FOREVER. Had to remember that. Thiefin, THIEFIN. My page, all I do is, you'll see it from life. I literally just either go out. I'm always out. I was out drinking beer, drinking, enjoying the nightlife. So if you want, just follow me there. Get engaged with me there. Send me DMs or just pretty much watch my stories. I'm always around. I'm always out and about.
Cool. And for me, my Instagram and my Twitter is the same, Mr. Marvel 87. I don't have to spell it out. Y'all can figure it out.
It's not easy to spell it like that either.
Oh no, you're right. But Marvel, they can get that. It's on people's shirts all over the place.
Definitely.
So
some shirts do spell MAHVEL, so maybe you do want to.
Yeah.
Accent.
Who spells it like that? Marvel.
It's fighting
Mr. Marvel.
Marvel. Let's Marvel.
So Mr. Marvel, fine. MAV. I forgot. MARVEL. 87. Once again, that's my Twitter, my Instagram. Unlike them, I don't go out as much. But you will see pictures of my kid, I guess. No, but thank you guys for listening so much. Like they said, you know, follow the pages, the group pages. We would love to have y'all. Once again, thank you for listening. That is also where we will drop everything. Oh, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Music. We're gonna try to get it on. Anything that you listen to, we're going to attempt to put SoundCloud. Anything we listen to, you listen to, we're gonna put our product on. So yeah, guys, thank you once again, and we out.
See you all next week.
Peace. Thank y'all.